Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of MTAR Technologies Limited. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Srinivas Reddy, Managing Director of MTAR Technologies Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the Q1 FY22 earnings call. We have uploaded all the required investor deck on various platforms for the reference. To begin with, we have performed much better compared to the last year year-on-year Q1 results of FY21. And even though the company, most of the companies in fact were affected by the wave 2, but we as a management team have decided that this is going to be part and parcel of our life over the next 1 year or so. So we always thought out of the box to ensure that we work towards the targets what we've set at the beginning of the year. And there was no letdown in terms of the manufacturing activities, and more important, the innovations that we are working, which we completely focused upon in terms of the roller screws, which is a 100% import substitute, which will be qualified in this quarter. And we are also working on the electromechanical actuators. During the year, we should be able to qualify for this as well. So our main focus has been on innovation for the future years. And we're going to launch the first semi-cryo engine this financial year as well. Most importantly is that we started doing the batch production for the hydrogen units in Q1, and as well as we move on to Q2 as well. So we can expect a more ramp up by the end of this year or beginning of next year. And also launched successfully done the prototypes of electrolyzers, which have been already tested in the United States, and we are moving forward probably with the batch production in the next quarter or so. So this is where we stand as of now, and further the expansion plans in terms of sheet metal and specialized fabrication are right on target to be commissioned during the Q3 and Q4 of this year. And we already started receiving inquiries for our sheet metal requirements in terms of clean energy from our main customer, Bloom Energy, also at this point of time. So we're pretty upbeat on and excited about the way things are moving forward for us and for all the shareholders. And with this, I would like to hand over to the Chief Financial Officer, Shilpa Bhattacharya, to give you more insight on the numbers and how the company is going to move forward.
Thank you, Srinivas. Good morning, everybody. See, as Srinivas has mentioned, when we compare between the 2 quarters, that is June 20 and June 21, both are affected by COVID disruptions. However, in June 20 quarter, there was actual lockdown and stoppage of operations for about a month. As far as June 21 quarter, that physical lockdown was not there. Our plant was operating, but our customers and suppliers and service providers were heavily affected. So we had almost a similar and comparable situation. In spite of that, we have grown on operating revenue by about 11%, total income by about 15%. Our expenses have gone up by about 6%, but you have to remember that we have to keep in mind that in the year quarter, that is June 20, there was no operation for about a month and a little more. EBITDA has improved also. It is at about 26.8% year on year. Our net profit has also improved, and PAT is about 8.7 crores as compared to 5.3 crores in June 20 quarter one, that is June 20 quarter. Our total assets have grown substantially due to our, going in for certain procurement of assets and also building certain sheds for the new operations in Adibatla, both for the sheet metal as well as for specialized fabrication, which is still a work in progress. We have started spending on these two projects also. Our shareholders' funds year on year has more than doubled because of the IPO money which has come in. The diluted EPS on non-annualized has improved from 1.99% in June 20 quarter to 2.83%. These are basically the highlights. Anything else that you want to know, we would try and answer your questions on those things. I now hand it over to Srinivas for his concluding remarks.
Thank you, Sudipto, and now we can open the floor for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning. So my first question is on the order book. If you can throw some light, because your order backlog comes down towards 354 crores for this quarter, which if you do, take out the revenue from the existing FY21 backlog, which was 415 crores, it looks like, there was no order inflow in this quarter. So if you can clarify, there is some revision that has happened in this quarter in some segments. And also if you can throw some light, because clean energy segment backlog is still about 106 crores. So I think our guidance has been quite higher on this aspect. So if you can throw some light, when are you expecting large orders from you, let's say from one of your larger clients? That's the first question I have. If you can throw some light, then I have two more questions.
Good morning. I was not able to hear you clearly, but we're talking about the order book. Is that what it is?
I'll repeat my question, sir.
Yeah, please.
My first question is, if I look at your order backlog in Q1 FY22, it's
I'm
354 crores.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Arora, but your voice is breaking, sir. We cannot hear you properly.
Okay. Is it audible now?
No, the voice is completely breaking. Your whatever you are saying, it's not audible in the call.
Okay, I'll come back in the queue. You can take another participant. I'll come back. I'll join in the queue again.
Thank you so much. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Tulsian from GM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, a very good morning, sir. So firstly, on the hydrogen boxes side, wanted to just understand how is this batch production likely to ramp up, if you can share some numbers. And Bloom Energy very recently announced a partnership with a company called Heliogen for generating green hydrogen by using concentrated solar power and water. So just want to understand the electrolyzers that we'll be supplying to Bloom will be moving towards this new partnership, and how this can ramp up volumes, or if this is for the erstwhile technology what Bloom has already deployed in some of the other countries. So just wanted some more clarity or some more color on that aspect.
Yeah, sure. Hydrogen, we actually started making the prototypes, and now we have moved on to the batch production, which is a very good sign because the initial installation in South Korea went off very well. And now we started delivering the batch quantities at the end of this Q1 and the beginning of Q2. And then once the 3 batch quantities are done, which is like 20 units, each of those batch quantities, that's a process we follow in engineering. And then we move on to the ramp up for volume production subsequent to that. So it's a combination of engineering and as well as the installations that happen in terms of batch productions, proving at the site, and which has went off very well in the initial batch, what was airlifted accordingly. So we are expecting a good ramp up to happen by end of this year or beginning of next year. Similarly with electrolyzers, we have done the prototype already, and which has been tested and proven. And now we'll definitely move on to batch production in Q3, and there'll be a lag of about quarter or a couple of quarters between hydrogen units and electrolyzers.
And regarding this new partnership of Bloom Energy with Heliogen, sir, any comments on that?
I will specific comments on that because we are manufacturing the main units for Bloom, and whatever tie-ups they would definitely have all across the place. MTAR will be a major partner in terms of supply chain for all these requirements that Bloom will have over the years in the joint ventures that we try to enter.
Okay. So second question is on this transition from Yuma boxes to T-Loco. If you can also share this newer version of hot boxes from Bloom Energy, by when this transition will be complete, as in will this Yuma volumes will completely be trimmed down and most of the volumes we do will be under this newer version?
Right now we are doing the Yuma, as we all know about it. So the T-Loco, we are in the stage of the first, in Q3 we'll be doing about 40 numbers of T-Loco as a first kind of a batch production. And this, the 5 will be the prototypes and 35 will be the batch production in Q3 of this year. And then we move on to the regular production from Q4 of this financial year. And there'll be a phase in and phase out over the next 2 years. It's not going to happen overnight. So we'll have a combination of Yuma and T-Loco going hand in hand, and slowly T-Loco will take over at the end of a 2-year phase in phase out.
Got it. And last question from my side is, sir, on the capex. If you can share, in addition to the sheet metal, we'll also be setting up this new specialized fabrication. So in absolute amount, how much will we spend in capex in this year as well as in next year?
It's not much. Actually, sheet metal, we already had the land available with us way ahead of time. And even last year we completed the buildings for the sheet metal. So overall, if you look at both sheet metal and specialized fabrication, we're looking at between around 90 to 100 crores of capex, which will be utilized to commission both the plants, and that will give a real push in terms of additional capabilities for the company. And as I said, including Bloom is looking at their own sheet metal requirements, which is a major spend for them again. So we have already started receiving the inquiries from them, and we're working on it, including the ISRO. We have already received inquiries and the starting orders as well. So that's how it's moving forward. So we're really excited about these two additional capabilities, which will bring in not only in terms of additional capabilities in terms of nuclear power and also clean energy in a big way. So that's what we're looking at.
Right. So 95 to 100 crores over 2 years, right, sir? Over this year and next year.
Yeah, mostly over this year and first half of next year.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for taking the question.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Renu Baid from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jenny.
Hi. So my first question is to understand that given this quarter we hardly, as in technically we have not received any order inflow, and if we adjust for the closing order backlog value, there is a negative 5 to 6 crores kind of impact. So if you can give some insights in terms of what is the outlook for order inflows, the status of key projects in pipeline, especially from nuclear power and space, where we are expecting large orders in the current financial year.
Sure. See, what has happened in Q1 is that, as you're all aware, as I said earlier also, that we were focusing on our own stuff in terms of manufacturing and innovation. But the concerned departments, if you look at domestic, all the areas, most of the departments were hardly working in terms of the second wave. And in fact, even now, ISRO Kerala is literally under shutdown and hardly working. But what we have received, the information what we have is that we have received the tenders for the fleet reactors, started receiving the tenders, and we have quoted for a couple of them for the fleet reactors in nuclear division. And we are expecting a lot more tenders to come in this quarter. So the bidding process is on, which is a very good sign. So that's what is happening right now. And as far as space is concerned, we have already the new batch of the liquid propulsion engines order is expected in Q2. Some more other areas where for the modules which we said we got qualified last year, we won't also expect those orders coming in Q2 as well. And so at the end of the year, as I've said earlier, we are comfortable to reach a target of about 650 to 700 crores of order book pipeline by March FY22. So that should not be an issue. And some of the orders can get spilled over in the first quarter of the subsequent year, depending on the COVID situation happening over the next 1 year. As far as clean energy is concerned, we are expecting a very major order from Bloom Energy over the next couple of weeks, actually. So we are finalizing the whole requirement for next year in terms of Yuma boxes and Kilako. We are expecting a substantial quantity. So those orders might kick in the next in this quarter itself. So with that and the number of units, what we are forecasting or what we have seen with respect to Bloom is much higher than what we are currently doing right now. So the demand has actually gone up. So we're expecting a substantial orders coming in over the next 3 quarters to get the order book healthy in where it should be.
Right. Would it be possible for you to broadly quantify the orders expected from space, and within nuclear, what packages for fleet reactors are expected to be finalized in the current year?
Most of the packages we already received for Calandria. The tenders have been received for Calandria. We've quoted for that. We have received for bridge and column. We have quoted for that. So we're expecting fuel transfer systems. We're expecting the coolant channel orders. So then the end shield. So a lot of these tenders are coming one after the other. So it's a process where once the tenders are floated, we quote for it. A couple of them we have done. So we're looking at what they have said to us now is that since they've lost about 3-4 months time, they're going to speed it up and see that the orders are released within the next 3 to 6 months is what they've said.
Sure. So secondly, the question is on execution. Given that in this quarter, though sequentially there's a drop in revenues from Bloom, how has been the broad volume offtake been? And looking at the current scenario, do you expect a ramp up in execution in your domestic portfolio? And aligned with this, what would be the revenue guidance for the year?
As I've always said, we are pretty confident of maintaining what I've said earlier, that 20 to 25% of revenue growth in the current financial year, which we will comfortably achieve. Anything more than that, it is subject to the COVID-related issues, but we are pretty sure of that minimum revenue guidance which I have given to everyone in the beginning of the quarter. So we still maintain that, and we are pretty confident about it. And as far as the Q1 is concerned, I have said very clearly that in domestic, when niche areas like space and nuclear, a lot of these departments were under shutdown literally, both in Mumbai and as well as Trivandrum. So we have done a lot of work internally in terms of various projects, and we are very sure that we are able to catch up very well. That's what we have done last year. We continue to do exactly the same thing this year, and we'll be able to achieve the guidance numbers what we have given to everyone without any issue.
Sure. And so if you can just mention what was the kind of volumes for Bloom Energy in the first quarter and volume growth?
Bloom Energy, we have done compared to year-on-year, quarter-wise, compared to last year, we have done more than about, I think, 50% more. And the maximum was the exports in the first quarter, which was almost 73% of the revenues. So we have done extremely well as far as the exports are concerned. There was an issue with domestic, but we have done our bit of the bargain in terms of manufacturing, but we're just waiting for certain clearances. And that should happen in Q2 as well. So that's how we're going to increase our domestic revenues as well in Q2.
Sure. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. I'm audible now?
Hi, Nitin. Yeah, Nitin, go ahead. If you can speak little slowly so it's better because...
Sure. You touched base on the previous participant question. There's some orders coming from Bloom Energy, because we saw the backlog coming down on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Can you quantify what is it their annual allocation, what they do every year, or is it something they're upsizing their guidance to you? I mean, if you can help quantify that, because it's been last 2-3 quarters where the inflows are quite muted, even the clean energy part. I mean, nuclear energy is quite muted. Space is also quite muted. So if you can quantify or let us know, is it some allocation will change there? Because there is other vendor also who fix it for them. Is it something which is going to then not coming to us? How one should look at it? Because you said this order will come quickly. So if you can help us more quantifying that, is it more of annual allocation? Because you're guiding for 20-25% growth. So then, and in one end you're saying it's a big order. So if you can help us understand that, that'll be great.
Yeah, sure, Nitin. I won't say the nuclear and space with nuclear. The reason being, we are not depending on those orders for the current financial year to begin with. So we have the orders to execute for this year, so we are comfortable with that. And what orders we are going to get from nuclear and space are subsequently for FY 23 and 24 and 25. So there will be huge orders inflows which are going to happen. So that's really not our concern at this point of time, because it's only a matter of time when these will kick in. As far as the clean energy, Bloom Energy is concerned, there are 2 parts to it, which I have explained just now. One is the major order they give an annual allocation. They want to release order for the entire year is what they have indicated. For FY, we're talking about the next calendar year. So we have orders until December. So from January to next year, December, the allocation for MTR, which I have received the confirmation from Bloom, is almost up by from 60% to 70%. That's what they have indicated. And the volume, what we are looking at is close to about 30 to 35% higher than the current year. And plus the Keylako is also going to kick in, as the additional revenues are going to kick in from Keylako, because we'll be doing the prototype and batch production in the current year, and then we move on to the volume production from Q4 of this year. So that's how it's going to kick in. So we're expecting a very good order book, orders being received from Bloom as far as the SOFC units are concerned. Another area which they've already sent the inquiries is for the sheet metal, which will be up and going in Q3 of this year. So we're looking at sheet metal orders kicking in from Loom and as well as space from next year onwards. So when I say next year, it's the calendar year, so I think it's the Q4 of this financial year. So we're expecting substantial orders coming in, and these orders for the SOFC units, both initially for Yuma and then subsequently for Kylako. For Yuma, I think we're expecting it in this month itself. So that's how it is done, because we need that much time to plan the supply chain as well. So that will be a major orders flowing in as far as Bloom is concerned.
Got it. And optically, the gross margins were high. I know quarterly you have always said don't look at on a quarterly basis, but annualized, nothing to look at, right? I mean, still 64, 60% where we make is that one should look at.
I was not able to hear well, Nitin, but I'll probably answer this. See, basically, in an entire where we improve on quarter-to-quarter basis and we build up everything. That's what happened last year also. At the end of the day, what guidance we have given in terms of revenues and margins, we strongly believe that we will maintain them, and there should not be any issue. And as I said earlier, we have decided that COVID is part and parcel of our life, at least for the next 1.5 years, I guess, or even less or more. I'm not too sure right now. But we are planning in such a way, which we did last year and this year as well, to move forward and not to take COVID as an issue, but try to work around it and see what best we can do and achieve the targets what we've set for everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rita Tahil Ramani from Investor Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Again, harping on this volume question. So when you're saying almost 30-35% increase in terms of volume, is just clarifying the last year volume was almost 1,700 volumes, right? So almost 2,200 kind of volume units for Bloom in the current year. Is that understanding right?
Yeah, that's right. So what they've indicated is, as far as I'm concerned, we have been in talks with them over the last couple of weeks to finalize the orders for next calendar year. They're looking at close to about 2,900 to 3,000 units of Yuma for next calendar year, which is a huge number.
Which is CY23, right?
Yeah, that's for next calendar year. That means from January of FY22 to December of FY26, right?
Got it. Got it.
Okay. And also the Kylako will be in additional quantities, which will be about 600 plus. That's what they're indicating.
Oh, okay. Okay. And this, when you're saying 2,900, this does not include anything of your hydrogen boxes. All that would be over and above this, right?
That does not include hydrogen, electrolyzers, and Kylako as well. It's only the Yuma I'm talking about.
Perfect. And in this current calendar year, CY21, what is your volume, which Bloom has already announced to you? That I'm sure that you right now.
So currently it's around 2,000 plus is what I mentioned, right? Yeah.
Okay. And in Q1, what is the volume which you've already supplied? Absolute volume.
I think we have done close to around 550 to 600, I guess. I mean, I don't have the exact number right now, but we can clarify that. Yeah.
Okay. And, okay, this is perfect. Next is in terms of, could you help us understand the order book as well as your, revenue breakup between space and science, because which is the incremental guidance which you're saying is for space orders, right? So could you help us understand at current juncture what is the breakup between your both order book and revenue for space and defense?
Space and defense, the order book is more or less equally distributed among all the segments: space, defense, nuclear, and clean energy. But so as far as the domestic is concerned, the revenue numbers are going to pick up in the next 3 quarters. So obviously, we have done our bit of the work in terms of manufacturing innovations and things like that. So we are only expecting certain clearances to happen, inspection procedures to happen. So we'll be more or less in a similar where exports would be accounted for roughly around 60% and 40% on domestic, because the volumes of clearance are going up really high. So not necessarily that the domestic is slowing down. Yes, domestic is also doing well. But in terms of the real numbers, the volumes of exports are going up.
Got it. And one last question. In the current quarter, were there any volumes or, volume stuck because of supply chain challenges, or there was no issue on that side for Bloom specifically?
Yes. As I said earlier, we planned our supply chain very well. That's where we were able to export that kind of quantity in the first quarter in spite of serious COVID issues. But the issue has come up in terms of the domestic sector where the inspection clearances are an issue. So that probably will get resolved in the current quarter. So that should not be an issue at all. Hopefully in current quarter, those clearances will happen. So other than that, we have planned our supply chain well ahead of time. And in fact, to beat the COVID-related issues and the transit time delays, we have planned our supply chain last year itself well ahead of time to ensure that we don't have such issues. So I don't take supply chain as an issue at all. It is purely, that's the reason why we have proved that our exports have done extremely well this quarter. It's only on the inspections and clearances from the domestic side which will happen this quarter.
Got it. Perfect, sir. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, Mr. Srinivas, Mr. Sudipto.
Good morning, Bhavin.
Good morning.
My question is on the nuclear, and so what we are observing is L&T got a pretty large order in the fourth quarter, same with BHEL and also Godrej. So if you could help us understand what is the volume or value of orders that we are expecting in the current financial year, and what exactly is the proportion that we are L1 or has been received till date?
See, basically, nuclear works on 2 different areas. One is the very long cycle requirements, tenders which they float, and on the then we go to the next level and the shorter cycle items. So we are involved in areas where we come not in very long cycle but medium and short cycle requirements, which are core of the nuclear reactors. So, Bhavan, as I said, we have already received a couple of tenders where we have quoted for Gallandria and as well as for the Bijan column. And these are for the 4 reactors, and we are expecting a lot of these tenders coming in where we have, in terms of NSHIELD, which we are going to compete for the first time with L&T. That also, those major tenders are going to flow in during the current year, fuel transfer system and all that. So, the issue here is, once these tenders are floated, we have quoted for them, there is a lag of 3 to 6 months. So we are not depending on these orders for the current financial year or beginning first half of next year. So we'll be expecting most of these orders kicking in from Q3, Q4 and Q1 of next year, which will be a substantial number which I have explained earlier also.
So what could be the expected order flows in the current financial year?
We'll have about at least roughly around 300 to 400 crores of orders kicking in from this particular segment itself.
I understand. And similarly on the space also, if you could help us understand what is the expected order pipeline, and if you could also highlight which are these programs where we are expecting orders for the current financial year.
Already we are having a very strong order book, but they have finalized additional sets of liquid propulsion engines. That's what we call as the rocket engines or the Vikas engines. Those orders are going to kick in this quarter itself. There has been a certain delay in that again. We were expecting that in Q1, but we'll get that in Q2. But we are not, again, our numbers are not related to those orders, but that's for the future requirement. So that's a major order which we will be getting, about 35 to 40 crores, and modules we're expecting another 20 crores. So roughly around 80 to 100 crores of orders might kick in from space over this financial year.
Understand. And just lastly, the newer products that you had highlighted, a couple of them which are import substitutes. What exactly is the status, and when could we be expecting a ramp up on the revenues front from these products?
The first thing is the roller screws, which we're almost close to qualification. DRDO has already confirmed it. We're having a meeting with ISRO in first week of September to present the whole roller screws qualification process. So by end of this quarter, the qualification of roller screws will be done. So that will be as on date, the entire country is importing roller screws. So that will be the first import substitute. That's where we are focusing on innovation, I've said, for the future. So these roller screws will get qualified by end of this quarter. And then we move on to the regular requirements, whatever the various organizations have, which they keep importing every year. So there's a number of about what they have said is between 60 to 80 crores of requirement, and plus we can also look at the other areas where roller screws are used. So nobody else is doing it in the country, so we'll be the first one to do it. And that's something which we are very excited about. And such similar products, like for example, electromechanical actuators, the roller screws also go as part of those EMAs. Will also be qualified probably by Q3, Q4 of this year. And as I said, the semi-cryo first of the engines we are rolling out in Q4 of this year. So all this has been the effort of the last 2 years what we've been working on.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking my questions.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Kochari from Alpha Accurate Advisor. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for providing the opportunity. Good morning, sir. Sir, I just wanted to know that if you can, in the, overall segment, if I look at the clean energy, which is a large part of our, contribution to revenue and also the order book, how do you see, the current year order book in this segment?
I just explained that earlier. So basically, the orders which are going to flow in for this particular segment will be very good. The number is at least 35% higher than last year. So the execution also would be that much higher for the subsequent year. So we're expecting a good demand for this units, what we're going to manufacture for next year.
So if I'm not wrong, I think FY21, your revenue in clean energy was roughly about 123 crores, correct? So you are saying, since I'm talking the financial year, not the calendar year. So on this 123 crores, considering the the orders what you have in hand and also the new orders what you are expecting, you think this segment can grow at 40-50% in revenue terms in the current year?
Okay.
Hello.
That's right. That's what we did.
Okay, because FY21 there was a degrowth. So you are saying in FY22 this segment can grow 40% plus in terms of revenue growth. And in space and defense, where of course the segment is very small, but you said that few orders have started coming in now. How do you see the revenue in this segment?
Well, they'll be slightly similar or better than last year. So orders which are going to come in are not dependent on the current year numbers. So that's for the next years. So we have a pretty strong order book of more than 120 crores in space and defense. So we'll be doing better than last year. That's what we're expecting, and equally similar way in nuclear as well.
Okay, so you are saying the current year the growth in space may not be that strong. That's what you are trying to say.
No, it is strong, but to the extent of what it should be, it will be there. So I'm not saying it is weak or anything like that. It will be definitely more than last year. That's for sure.
Okay. Understood. So I was just, if I do some, some number crunching that, last year our revenue was 246, and going by what you are saying currently, your revenue can be then 310 to 320 crores, which is basically, strong growth of 30% plus, because you said your revenue guidance is 20-25%. So that's where I got a little bit confused. Because if I sum up what you mentioned just now, then your revenue growth can be much stronger than what you have mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely right. See, I always ensure that, whatever guidance I've given of 20-25%, in what is the worst case scenario, right? So definitely, anything more than that will definitely do better, but not less than 20-25%.
Okay, great, sir. Thanks for that clarity. Thank you, sir. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the real line of Nilapu Santosh from MSET. Please go ahead.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity. First question, sir. What is the cash generated from the business in Q1? Cash flow from operations number. It's just a bookkeeping question.
So, which way you want to answer that, please?
See, the cash flow from IA is not a part of the results, first of all. So we have not, there is a cash flow from generation because we have a PAT from operations, but the working capital has been high. This is the first time I'm sharing the cash flow question. Working capital has been high because my inventory has been very high. So therefore, when you consider the changes in working capital, cash flow generation from operations will be negative.
Sir, why I asked this question was, if I recall correctly, in the last call, we said that we have collected almost 60% of the receivables, which is outstanding at Q4 end.
Oh, our receivables
have
that is right. I'm giving you. Our receivables position has improved substantially in the sense we barely have more than 6 months outstanding, and the 6 months is almost near to the contractual situation. Our challenge has been inventories because of, as Srinivas explained, that we had not been able to complete inspect because of the COVID-related disruptions in domestic, and also due to the fact that we are buying for the future now. Whenever we are getting material, we are buying. So our raw material inventory is also going up because we are uncertain that tomorrow COVID disruptions will not affect the supply chain.
So, sir, I'm sorry.
So that because of these two, the inventories have gone up substantially, which has affected our cash flow from operations.
So, sir, is it fair to look at that whatever the collections we have done during the quarter, a major chunk of it, the working capital release in the form of collections has gone towards the inventory spend to build up the inventory?
See, what we are doing now is, since as far as the IPO objectives, major portion of our IPO funds will go towards working capital, so it is going towards working capital. We have utilized our major IPO funds for working capital, and some portion has gone towards the inventory, and we have also built up our free cash reserves by way of investing in mutual funds, in a short-term fund.
So what would be the cash balance, in other words, if it is fine for you?
See, I do not have it ready-made, but let me tell you. We have about 46 crores. If you see, we have about 46 crores invested in a mutual fund, and we have about 20 crores in fixed deposits. Some of it is in lien because of LCs and all. So we have that much of cash.
Okay. The second question, if I may. Sir, what percentage of the total current order book would be developmental orders?
Srinivas, you want to attempt that?
Yeah, I'll take that question. There is the one order which we have for 30 crores. That's for Semiconductor, which I said. That's the first time a product which we are releasing so which is getting rolled out in Q4, the first of the engines. And the other one is the CHAS, which is a health assessment system, which we are doing for BASC, which is for 11 crores. So these are the two developmental orders. But we are doing our own development to like products what we are innovating, that's a separate issue. But these are the two development orders that we are doing right now.
Okay, and I want to add, when you ask for the cash balance, what I mentioned is excluding about 100 crores, which is in fixed deposits in the monitoring account, which we have not been able to apply of IPO funds, which we have not been able to apply as of today. So that is also sitting, which will slowly get applied to the users which are there in the RHP.
Okay, sir.
See, overall, it's around 170 crores of cash sitting in the company.
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Sir, and lastly, even there was a media article that Bloom has successfully deployed with Samsung the hydrogen cell in one of the for marine applications. So, are we hearing any commentary from the client side for what kind of opportunity this could be throwing up for us in the future, sir?
Yeah, obviously, yes, right. So when I'm looking at much higher volumes, it's all figuring from the various sectors that Bloom is working on. So obviously, when you look at the hydrogen units, they're actually airlifting the units right now to ensure that it is on a fast track. So obviously, these are going for the various requirements they have. So I can't quantify the numbers of hydrogen units right now or the requirements, but as I said, we are in advanced stage of batch production for hydrogen units, which they are being airlifted by Bloom. So all our pricing is on ex-works. So that's a good indication of seeing the urgency of the whole situation.
Okay. So one follow-up related to this only, related to this point. So does the application of the hydrogen box change the configuration of the hot box also? So is it fair to assume that all the hydrogen hot boxes would not be uniform across applications, or how does this go, sir? I'm just trying to understand how the realization would move for these hot boxes.
See, there is a change of configuration from the SOFC units, what we make vis-a-vis to the hydrogen units. There is a slight change in the configuration. There is definitely a change, but across sectors, the hydrogen box would remain the same. That will not be any difference.
And even the raw materials used for our part of work, that would also be constant, right?
That will also be
even its application changes. Okay. That's it, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan from Alpha Accurate. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, my question is with respect to, firstly, with respect to our sheet metal business. So you said that the plant will be operational from FY23, and we have received orders for the same. We will be receiving orders for the same. What is the peak revenue that we are expecting from this capacity, and how will be the ramp up for the same in the first year, second year?
See, sheet metal, we are actually looking at number of varied customers. So there is certain qualification process we also involved there. The first thing is, as far as ISRO is concerned, we have already received, to begin with, a small tender for about 7 crores, which they have sent us a soft copy of the PO. They have not received the original PO as yet. And Bloom has already sent their inquiries. Their annual spend is about $42 million. So I'm not expecting the entire $42 million to come to entire government. But we would look at least about roughly around, to start with, about $7 to $10 million to start with for next year. And then we can go up to easily around 15 to 20 million in the subsequent years. So these are the jump starters that what we have. ISRO will be very strong. As I said, we'll be working on the various projects like motor casing, additional capabilities that we have, light alloy structures, all that stuff. So it will, year-on-year basis, there will be an upside to the sheet metal with the additional capabilities. And then specialized fabrication area where not only we'll have additional capabilities in nuclear, space, and as well as for the clean energy segments what we're working on.
And sir, how much of clean energy Bloom revenue are we expecting in current financial year? Because I got confused. You said 2,000 crores, 2,000 boxes you said for this year, and then 2,900 boxes for next year. Is it for calendar year or financial year?
Usually it is the calendar year, but it will percolate to financial year as well. So let's not get confused with that. So we're looking at least about 40% minimum growth compared to last year to this year.
What was Bloom revenue last year, sir?
Bloom revenue has been close to $1 billion, right? I'm not too sure of the exact number. That's what I think.
No. I mean, I'm saying for our company, what is the Bloom revenue last year?
Last year was around 120 crores, roughly 120 crores.
121 crores. Okay. And how much we are saying in the current year?
There should be about 40% plus increase compared to last year.
Okay. And how do you see then the next year?
I've already said that next year the numbers also are given. They are indicating right now for about close to 2,900 to 3,000 boxes of Yuma and around 600 boxes of 600 units of Fila code.
So, sir,
substantially a higher number compared to this year.
So, sir, with this number, are we expecting some further decline in the realization?
No, we are not.
And the current realization would be around 9 lakh, right?
The realization would more or less remain the same because, as I said, I have to go back to what I said earlier. We are actually now developing our own vendors instead of importing from US. So a lot of things which we are doing to manufacture in-house, which goes into the SOFC units. So realization will not go down.
Okay. And now, as you said, now a lot of things you are doing internally. So is there a scope for you to improve the margin from this level?
Yeah, there's 5-10 basis points, but our margins, I'm pretty sure that we'll maintain similar EBITDA margins of what we achieved last year.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity again. Just one question from my side. If you could give us an update of, we were also looking for an additional customer in the clean energy space. Any development on that front will be useful.
Yeah, actually, this is something which I wanted to actually tell. You have asked that question, Bhavan. See, it's not one customer. We're working on in different segments, including clean energy, working on like 7-8 customers right now. And especially with the NATCAP approval coming through by September. So we are seriously looking at adding about 8 to 10 customers. Earlier I was thinking about 4 to 5, but we are now looking at much higher numbers. So in fact, some of the customers have done some prototype. I won't be able to tell you the details right now, but yes, we are moving in that direction. And we will be able to add all these customers during the current financial year for the future for the company.
Sure. Any possibility of the customers in the clean energy, or these would be in the diverse sectors, specifically in the clean energy?
It will also be in the clean energy also.
Sure. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you so much for taking my questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Tulsiyan from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thanks for taking the follow-up. Sir, two things. One is on the hydrogen side, are we in discussion with any other customers in India other than the ones that we are in discussions globally?
No, not within India. See, actually, if you look at, we have started receiving some tenders from NTPC, from railways. I've seen a tender yesterday, which we are actually talking to Bloom, like including NPCL, I've said. We are now, next week, we're having a detailed discussion with Bloom in terms of working together to participate in all these tenders within India itself. So basically, it's a combination of Bloom and MTAR, which we are looking at. So we're having a detailed meeting with them next week how to take this forward. So let's see what goes on there.
So as of now, Bloom is the only partner with whom we'll be working jointly and bidding for tenders for the Indian PSUs.
Yeah, that's because we have a product which is I'm going to have that kind of a jump start. So we're just trying to work with Bloom to take this forward.
Okay. And secondly, sir, there was this away from reactor orders for Kudankulam nuclear power plant. So what's the status on that, if you can update us, please?
See, that's been like a 400 to 500 crores of opportunity, which is not what we have done earlier, but we have joined hands with Rosatom and other companies to participate in that. We have participated in 3 tenders. So the department, because of COVID, they were not able to decide in Q1. So probably in Q2 they'll decide on the first 3 tenders. The problem what we are seeing is, for the first tender itself, the qualification, only what I've heard is that only MTAR is qualified for the first tender. So they are looking at how do they go about it. So it's a very strange situation. So that NPCL has to decide how they want to go about it.
All right. Thank you so much for taking this follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Srinivas Reddy for closing comments.
So I would like to thank everyone for joining this earnings call, Q1 FY22 earnings call. And what I would like to conclude is that, as I said earlier, we are well on track with what we want to do in terms of innovations, in terms of, I strongly believe the numbers are byproducts of innovations, that what MTR does. And we are right on track in what we are trying to do. And we don't want to really look at the COVID situation and keep talking about COVID all the time. We have gone past that. So yes, we'll have certain issues related to COVID, but we need to think out of the box to maneuver around it and to achieve what we promised to all our shareholders, and we'll definitely work towards that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of MTAR Technologies Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.